Hey everybody, and welcome back. This is game number 2 between our good friend the Grandpa Toss, spawning down here in the bottom left hand corner of WCS Entombed Valley. Wow, I just spaced on the name. We have Whitera spawning up in the top right hand corner. His opponent spawning as the Blue Zerg, TSL's Revival. Now, if you've been keeping up with this series, and this is an actual series that was found on, I believe it was SC2 Reps, from IEM, this is Whitera versus TSL Revival, yet again, a PvZ on Entombed Valley, as if I needed to just reiterate everything I just said. We do see Whitera going to come down here and go ahead and drop that pylon, so he's going to go ahead for a Forge Fast Expand first. Get everything opened up here, wow. Revival, in the last game, didn't necessarily do anything too crazy. I think Whitera most of all got just a little bit too excited with some of his units and overextended a lot. Whitera going to go ahead and scout up here to the top left, and Revival going to go for the bottom right. So both of these players actually scouting the opposite direction that they needed to first. But then again, now that I say that, is there a correct direction when your opponent spawns across from you? I suppose you'll find them the same time either way. That is if you're using a drone probe or SCV. If you're pulling a Revival here in Overlord Scouting, not all is sure. The Forge coming down now for Whitera, the spawning pool coming out for Revival. This is actually kind of an awkward moment for Protoss players because, you know, look at the size of this ramp. You're going to get a Forge here, you'll put a gateway, cannon back here more than likely, and then, you know, maybe another gateway, maybe your Cyber Core, but either way you have to drop that second pylon. Makes it not so easy for Protoss players to do, and Whitera going to do a little bit of the harassment to TSL's Revival. Revival probably not going to get thrown too off by it. Nope, not. He's going to go ahead and just take his third like any other normal Protoss. The most standard thing in the world. And not to take away from the Day 9 drinking game, but anybody drinking while watching this VOD, because I know that's what you nerds do on a night before a Wednesday. I guess it's Tuesday night. Oh my god. Anyway, if you're drinking while watching this, this would be the point in the Day 9 cast where you would take a drink, because I used the phrase most standard thing ever. Well, that is pretty much true. Whitera is scouting, though, that he did take that third. That third is about halfway done. It is actually his natural. Whitera also getting a natural of his own. And see what I mean here? This is just a big, awkward, wide open space that Protoss has to try and block off. He does have the cannon in the middle, and it is double powered. So, I mean, you know, Whitera can be covered in that sense. And actually, perfect timing on that. Now, one thing it is important to note is I have not actually seen a wall-off like this by Protoss. And just as another aside, we have the third just about finished, the natural just now started for TSL's Revival. So it is going to be a 3-base versus 2-base. We're going to have to see if Whitera decides to go for another 2-base all-in, or how he decides to play that out. Like I said, I think last time, Whitera's main problem is it was just mishandled. His probe does get killed down here by some lings. And we do see another queen coming out for Revival. Revival still has not taken a gas geyser in any one of his bases, so must have something in mind if he's going to go ahead and play Stefano style, where he takes these 3 bases really quick, gets them really, really saturated, then takes 4 geysers, possibly even 6 geysers, saturates and just goes roaches, because we all know that you can just win games with roaches, and Stefano's been doing it for almost a year now, so why not? We do see a Cybernetics Core coming out of Whitera at this point, followed by another gateway. So he did opt to just go ahead and wall that off with key structures. Why not? Revival getting that ling out of there. Cybernetics Core now finished. Coming back up here to Revival's base, we do see actually just a flood of drones at this point. As TLO's moniker would say at a point in time, it is the game of drones, playing Zerg. Never more true than in ZVZ, but at this point, like I said, okay, we do see 2 gas geysers coming down now. Now, it's interesting that this gets taken down here at the third as opposed to in the main. This is going to give Whitera scouting with the Zealot a little bit of a worry that his opponent just decided to mass expand. Now, we do see some lings going to come over here, try and catch up to that Zealot. Probably not going to happen. +1 on the way for Whitera, though, as well as a Sentry and Warp Gate research. All the usual fun stuff, and actually, there it is. There we see it. Where is it? Can I find it? Somewhere. There it is. There's the roach worm. So right now the likely play is to come out about, like I said, Stefano would, and Whitera doing a little bit of the micro action here in the middle, because he is Micro Jackson some days. But to just go ahead and go roach and see what happens. Whitera actually taking his third and walling it completely off without actually having taken these rocks down. I'm not sure how I feel about that entirely. We're going to have to see how Whitera deals with it, but ultimately it does put him at kind of a disadvantage considering he now has to run all the way around to try and flank. Oh, I guess he does have that opening, so never mind, he can warp in a unit right there. Oh, but the Lings are going to scout it. The cannon is going to drive them off. The Lings do know that the third is there, so that actually makes it a very vulnerable attacking point for Revival. And that actually, you know, that this close third is a good thing for Protoss players, but at the same time it can also be a curse, because you get a moment like this where you've expanded, and then all of a sudden Zerg pushes up here with a bunch of roaches. Looking back at the base of TSL's Revival, though, we don't actually see any roaches in production, but an infestation pit coming down and an evolution chamber. So right now he's getting +1 carapace. Link speed is also just about done, and he is getting Guile Reconstitution. So there will be roaches in play at some point, and there we do see 3 of them in production. A second forge going down now for Whitera, and a robotics bay finish somewhere. There it is. He's getting level 1 armor. I still do not see... Oh, and the proxy pylon getting hidden. The probe getting taken out, but these zealots probably going to save it. Another proxy pylon did get scouted by those Lings, but Whitera has enough zealots up here to go ahead and do some damage. He's going to try and sneak them up into the third, which the rocks are still up for. But they are going to get surrounded and subsequently taken out by these roaches. Back up here into the base of good old Whitera, we do have a robotic support facility, and actually he did get a Twilight Council out, so he is going to go ahead and go for 2-2. The roach is going to come over here and pick off this pylon. All the usual good fancy stuff that you see Zergs doing, and actually this is a great job by TSL Revival, making sure that he scouts around the map and finds these hidden pylons, because those hidden pylons, as any Protoss player will tell you, can make or break a big push, actually. That shorter reinforced distance makes it ideal. And on another side note, we do see TSL's Revival going to go ahead and take his 4th down here in the middle. And we do see a large swell of units coming out in front of Whitera's base. That's actually a lot of roaches. We get a little bit of lag there. I apologize for that. Oh no. Let's look at the units. Not that many units out for Whitera. This is going to hurt. Whitera, only on 5 gateways, has not been warping in units this entire time and has gone insanely greedy. These units from Revival going to go ahead and just push up here only to find out there really isn't that much. We go ahead and look back at the production tab, a second hatchery. So actually, Revival getting a little greedy over here, taking these bases, but right now in this position that he's in, I don't necessarily see a problem with that. Whitera pulling these stalkers back, definitely sees, oh, yep, he is going to scout it. Does manage to kill off the changeling. So 1 Colossi is out now for Whitera, but he doesn't have range. So actually this is going to be kind of, it's going to be kind of an awkward engagement. We do have 3 infestors out on the field, as well as more Lings, and roaches running up here for Revival. Supply right now 115 to 171. So Revival clearly in the lead, did take this expansion just to take gas, probably going to do the same with the other, just so that he can quickly replenish those infestors should he need to, and actually, it's kind of an interesting attack path. I don't know whether Revival's just scared that there's an expansion up here or what the deal is. And actually Whitera is finally starting to catch up in terms of units on the field. This is going to be kind of scary when Revival actually decides to attack into it. So the gateway total for Whitera also is come up to 11. Now he has to be careful because this army from Revival, you know, even though there's a 30 supply difference and things aren't looking good, this is actually really scary to engage into even when you have more supply. Fungal growth, even after the change of today, now I am recording this video on December 4th, so that change is taken into effect. Blizzard actually put a change in to where fungal growth, I believe it doesn't affect psionic units, which infestors are. It's mainly to help the infestor on infestor carnage. Now, Whitera is still about 50 food down from Revival, and Revival is going to lose this base, but I don't think he cares. 2 Corruptors out now. Oh, Whitera! And the attacks come some really good force fields by Whitera, picking off one of the infestors, and this is actually the engagement that Whitera needed. He is reinforcing, so right now the supply, while it does tell the tale of being in the favor of Revival, isn't necessarily the entire story. Uh-oh, this is not good. The one stalker getting picked off. Whitera needs to move that Colossi up, and he does get it up in there in time. But now this army is trapped. He has to come out here and deal with this no matter what. That is a lot of Corruptors. That's 9 Corruptors out for Revival now. And he has to do some really tricksy target firing otherwise. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and just lose all 3 of his Colossi, and now the tables have turned back in his favor. TSL's Revival. Small pack of Lings down here just to make sure no fancy run-bys happen, but Whitera actually looking like he might stabilize over here. Until he overextends, and there was a fungal growth that went off on the Stalkers, a few of them able to blink away. This ultimately is not a good position for Whitera to be in. He doesn't have any support units to back his push up. There's not even anything in production right now. Whitera running basically just off of Blink Stalkers and Zealots, which for a while works, but actually makes it a little tough. And GG comes out from Revival. So that was game number 2. I was not able to find game number 3 between these two up on the web. If I do find it, I will definitely get it casted for you. But right now, as it stands, the series remains tied at 1-1. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, definitely hit the subscribe button below. Spread it to your friends. Let's try and build this production. Let's see if we can get some fans. Let's do it. Let's do it. We can do it together. All right, guys. So with that, this is Evolution's Woodhouse signing off to you once again. We'll talk to you later.